Hi, I'm Mike Michelizzi, the Director of Technical Services here at Custom Building Products. And today we're coming to you from our Custom Technical University. And in this edition of our Top 5 Tips, we're going to give you the top 5 tips for a successful self-leveling underlayment installation. As tile and stone dimensions are becoming larger and larger, as we see in this tile here, the need for a flat floor to ensure a successful installation is critical. As we currently look at the industry standards, the flatness requirement for a typical size tile is 1/4 inch in 10 feet. No more variance than that, and 1/16 of an inch per foot. But for these larger formats, we need a considerably flatter floor. We need it to be within 1/8 of an inch in 10 feet, and no more than 1/16 of an inch variance within 24 inches. Because of these requirements for these large format tiles, the use of self-leveling over the last 5 years has become dramatically increased and is now part of our traditional prep, set, and grout process. Self-leveling implies that the product will level itself, and it does. But typically for projects today, really a flat or a smooth floor is all that's required. So these self-levelers might be used just to flatten the floor and give you a smooth appearance. When you need a pitch or some type of slope to a drain, typically a mortar bed or a patch would be better used instead. To help you with your project for self-leveling underlayment, we're going to provide you the top 5 tips. Tip number 1, preparation is key. Make sure that your surface is sound, clean, and stable before you install any underlayment. High moisture vapor emissions are usually not acceptable with most levelers. So if moisture mitigation treatment is required, assure that you do that before you install your leveler. If you're going to install a waterproof membrane in your system, note that most waterproofing membranes are soft, and they should be only installed above the self-leveling underlayment. Most concrete requires some type of preparation. Mechanical preparation through shot blasting is usually the best method, as it gives you the right profile to apply your leveler and your primers over the surface. Whichever method you determine to use, make sure that you use the proper protective equipment. Tip number 2, choose the right primer. Only use the recommended primer for the underlayment that you're going to apply. And when you apply the primer, always apply it at the correct thickness, because too much primer is not a good thing. It can lead to a failure. Primers also help hold water in the mixture. This helps improve the flow of the leveler, as well as final curing and strengths. And when the primer is finally applied over the surface, make sure that you apply your leveler within the recommended time frame. Tip number 3, measure your water accurately. Too little water in a leveler won't allow it to actually flow or level properly. On the other hand, too much water can cause you a number of other problems. First off, you'll see all of the aggregate will sink to the bottom, and all of your organics in your material will start rising to the surface. What this causes is you have a very weak leveler with all of the components not properly mixed. You'll have a weak and powdery surface, and you can also have a number of issues with shrinkage and final compressive strength. Tip number 4, make sure you have sufficient manpower on your project. Based on your technique of leveling, whether you're going to barrel mix or you're going to pump the product, you want to have enough bodies on the project in order to mix, pour, place, and smooth the product within the recommended time frames. You only have a certain amount of time to get it right. So how much manpower is needed? Well, for projects with 50 bags or more, you're going to need 4 applicators. You'll need 1 on the mixer, 2 to carry the product, and another applicator in the field smoothing and placing the product. When you're using a pump, especially for deeper pours, make sure you have enough people on the mixer feeding that mixer to keep that product moving along. When locating your mixing station, make sure that it's not too far away from the pour, as these are fast-setting products, and also not too close so that you get dust over the surface of the primer, as this could lead to failures down the road. Tip number 5, make sure you get all the facts straight before you begin your project. For example, ask yourself, will your substrate be able to handle the added weight of the leveler? If not, you'll have to use a lightweight leveler. Additionally, what am I going to do with the existing joints in the concrete? Whether they're movement joints, control joints, or existing cracks, how am I going to treat them? If there are openings in the floor, or even the cracks themselves, without dams in place, the leveler will flow to the floor below. All of this has to be considered before you start applying your product. Other issues to be very concerned about are what will be the temperature when you apply your leveler. Will it be hot? Will it be cold? Will it be a controlled environment? Will you have direct sunlight? Or will there be some type of airflow that will come across your leveler as you place it? All of these factors are very important to consider, as some could really adversely affect the strength and the appearance of the leveler overall. Another factor to consider is, how much area am I going to cover? Will I have enough product in order to keep the barrels moving? If you have any questions at all, consult the Custom Building Products Material Calculator reference in order to get the correct amount of material for your project. As you consider these top 5 tips, remember that all self-leveling products are not designed equally, so they're going to be different in the way that they're used and applied. So consult the technical data sheets, read the instructions carefully before you begin. So thank you for tuning in to this edition of Custom's Top 5 Tips, and we hope and wish for you to have a successful self-leveling underlayment installation. We'll see you soon.